Deuce Knight heads to the portal. Yes, welcome back on in to the Auburn Angle. I'm your host, Graham McLean. Thank you so much for joining and listening today. Today, I've got my buddy Brett with me, just to talk a little bit more Auburn sports and what's going on in this crazy, college football world right now. And maybe a little bit later, we'll touch on a little bit of basketball as well. So, Brett, how you doing?
Doing well. It's definitely been a crazy Christmas break for Auburn. We've had a lot taken from us. Hopefully we'll get to start receiving some gifts here. So
I know.
See how this new year goes for us.
It's been tough losing guys. I mean, every single day it feels like another guy, a big name is leaving. And then, of course, over the last 2 days, you had Cam Coleman, yesterday, and then obviously today, the day that we're recording this, Deuce Knight announces it. So the main thing we're going to talk about today, obviously, is that Deuce Knight announced today, on 3, Hayes Fawcett reported that Deuce Knight plans to enter the portal. And like I said in all my other videos, disclaimer, portal's not open until Friday. So, he could change his mind. He could take his name out, whatever. Do I think that's likely? No, I don't think so. But so this is tough. I mean, I'm kind of conflicted about what I feel like I want. Obviously, I think Deuce is super talented, and I think he needs to be on this roster. But at the same time, it kind of just feels like we need this culture reset and this shift in the locker room. So I really don't know what to believe yet. I mean, it's still super early, and I'm still have emotions on it. But we're gonna see what happens. Brett, what do you think about it?
Well, obviously, Deuce Knight is a freak athlete. There's no getting around it. The dude was a 5-star for a reason. I think it's funny that when he committed, so many sites were trying to push that he was actually a 4-star on their site, and now the minute that he's ready to leave Auburn, now he gets that 5-star bump. But there's no doubt about it. It hurts. It hurts to lose a guy that you thought was the face, the future of Auburn football. He was getting the Cam Newton comparisons. There was the number 2 hype. There was. People were calling for him to be the starter this year, and he showed some promise, and I hate it. Anytime you lose a kid like this, you hate it, but you have to trust that the staff wanted to keep him as well. All the reports that we were hearing coming from Auburn's side of things were that they wanted Deuce, and they were offering him 7. I think it's been reported 7 figures. He was going to make $1 million to essentially back up a guy that has done something that only 12 other college athletes have ever done in the history of college football, and learn a system that quarterbacks typically thrive in. Especially you look at a guy like Hendon Hooker, Byron Brown, Deuce. They're all kind of relatively that same archetype. They're that same build, same type of quarterback, and so I think it's a bummer, but it's kind of the day and age that we live in today. There's really none of this sitting anymore.
Yeah, I kind of talked about that yesterday. Deuce had the opportunity in this offense to be absolutely elite. Like you said, look at Hendon Hooker, look at Byron Brown, both guys that are elite. And you said something, the fact that Deuce, could have been offered 7 figures to sit for a year. I mean,
right.
And he redshirted this year, so it's not like he's losing another year of eligibility here. Like he's still going to have
the draft timeline. The draft timeline would look the exact same for him.
Yeah,
exactly. And sometimes it's, something I heard long ago was, sometimes it's nice to let scouts leave something to be desired. So you have a guy like Deuce, say he sits this year, he gets some playing time, we see flashes, and then all of a sudden his redshirt sophomore year, he's the starter, and he has, maybe not the most insane year you've ever seen out of a college quarterback, but say it's a very, over 3,000 yards passing, over 600 yards rushing. And, he's probably definitely still a first-round guy with that, and you leave something a little bit to be desired there for the scouts. But, I can only imagine the coaches are telling him those same things. But I don't know. I really was going to like him in this offense. I mean, it's a very spread offense. It's a very take quick shots, get the ball downfield, kind of show off the arm a little bit. And, but it is what it is.
It's definitely an offense that, even if the quarterback run is an option there too. And we know, you see Byram running the ball constantly. And then, I know with Mercer, and Mercer just isn't the level of competition, but first play of the game, Deuce takes it to the house for what was it, like 75 yards. So I mean, just
Well,
all the stuff was there for Deuce.
and from my understanding of it as well, kind of studying the offense different from that kind of the RPO based offense that Hugh and Derek Nix ran, is that it takes a lot of that decision making out of the quarterback's hands. So it's almost, it's a lot it's a lot more simplified. It's the sexy spread offense. It's the run and gun type of style, but it takes a lot of that decision making and a lot of those reads out, kind of, a lot of those pre-snap checks and looks kind of takes that out of the offense when, compared to an RPO style where you kind of need a little bit more of a game manager back there.
Yeah, absolutely. And after yesterday, losing Cam and all that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as soon as it happened, I think the writing was kind of on the wall. I knew. I mean, obviously, all the reports have come out and saying that, like, oh, Cam wants Deuce to be the starter, and I know for a fact Deuce wanted to be with Cam, but you also got to look at, like, I mean, and it sucks that it's like this in this day and age of college football, but like all the guys that Deuce came here for are gone. I mean, I'm sure Deuce had such a good relationship with Perry, with Malcolm, with Eric. I don't know. I still don't know the situation on with Eric, but with Cam, the quarterback room too. I mean, he had a great relationship with Jackson, great relationship with Ashton, and I mean, all of those guys are gone. I mean, this entire offense just looks completely different now. So the writing on the wall was kind of there for Deuce. I thought, after yesterday, it was kind of a matter of time. If we had kept Cam, I still don't know if that made such a huge difference for Deuce. I mean, I think it could have gone either way there. Do I think our chances were a little bit better if we had Cam? Yes, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So,
and I don't. If I had to, I'm not. But if I was a betting man, I'd say I don't think Eric will be back next year. I'd be very shocked at this point to have him stay in the orange and blue.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm feeling too. But I mean, it just sucks, being in this season right now where we can only lose guys.
Right.
I mean, I am kind of shocked that Eric hasn't announced anything yet. I mean, it's just maybe he's waiting for the portal to like actually open to do something, but I don't know. So
and there's a lot of money that's freed up. Just his deal now
exactly.
Changed.
And
does he get overpaid a little bit now?
Yeah, and that's something like I mean, as much as all this does suck, that's something I am a little more excited for because like all these guys are getting paid like 7 figures. I mean, look, we have Cam Coleman 7 figures, Jackson Arnold 7 figures, and even the guys not leaving to the portal. Like we have guys going to the league. Keldrick Falk,
I think
7 figures.
I think a lot of people would be very shocked to find out what a lot of not even some of the premier guys. So guys that you've barely heard how much some of them were making. So
I know. I mean, like I wish I knew like what Perry was making. Someone who did not see the field like a ton or got a ton of like passes thrown to him. He was still probably making a ton of money. So losing these guys, as much as they suck, the talent is there. It was unfortunate the coaching situation that they were put in and the offense, but at the same time, it sounds like there've been a couple locker room issues, and so it's just nice to kind of get this culture reset. So
I agree. I completely agree.
So before we switch over to talk a little bit of basketball, I'm going to give a quick shout out to myself. I run this page called Made by McLean over on Instagram and TikTok. You can, would love for y'all to go check it out, give it a follow. Just post some more Auburn content there, and just some type edit videos, stuff like that. And I have some more stuff planned coming soon. Also want to give a quick shout out to my Instagram for this podcast. Over on Instagram, it go to the Auburn Angle, and I'll be posting clips of the podcast there. Instant reactions. I posted an instant reaction yesterday for Cam and an instant reaction today for Deuce. So go check out that. Give it a follow, give it a like, stuff like that. So basketball.
One thing I want to before we jump into basketball,
yeah, absolutely.
You want to go through? I mean, where we sit right now. This show will release on Wednesday. The portal does open on Friday. You want to talk through really quickly a little bit of what you would like to see Friday?
Yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
some quick things that
absolutely. I mean,
like your wish list, like a little wish list of what you want to see Friday.
I mean, to start off, and I think this is something that could happen really soon. Is obviously multiple people come out and said that Auburn has an offensive lineman, I think from Oklahoma State, I think I'm not entirely sure. I have to double check that, but so there is an offensive
Mhm.
lineman visiting this weekend for per reports.
Yes, that is confirmed. Yeah, he'll be where his first visit, which is
Yeah,
what you want to
which
be
is
in the
awesome.
portal,
And because
which
the
is where
portal
you
is
want to
different
be.
than high school recruiting. It isn't like a
Yep.
drawn out process where like you're going to
Mm-mm.
go visit all these teams and then you're going to make your decision. Sometimes with these portal guys, your first visit you commit
You
and
want
you
to be
lock
the
it down.
first in the portal. You want to be the
Exactly.
last in high school.
Yeah, it's complete opposite. So that's awesome that he's going to visit here. This whole offensive line is going to need to be rebuilt. I
Oh
mean, you
yeah.
got to look. Xavier Chaplin's gone. Is Mason Murphy gone? I can't remember. Did he enter or he ran out of
You
eligibility or
know,
something?
I don't know if he might be out of eligibility or not.
Yeah, I can't
I,
remember.
I
But I
know he
mean,
has not. I don't think he's entered. I know Dylan Senda
I
confirmed that
did
he
see
would be
that.
entering
Yeah.
today.
So Dylan entered, and then you have obviously we'll have Kale Ellis,
We'll be
for
back,
next year. He'll be back.
hopefully.
But I mean, Connor's gone.
Hmm.
Jeremiah Wright's gone. Too Tall's gone.
Yep.
Dylan Wade's gone. Xavier Chaplin's gone. I mean, this whole offense, like the guys that played like this past year, it's basically gone. So
And then I mean,
big,
Seth Wilfred's gone. You've got a lot of depth
yeah,
that's gone too.
a lot of depth that's gone. Yeah, and there's been a couple more. So obviously, I would love to get some offensive linemen out of the portal. Definitely a big tackle or something like that. We're gonna need to rebuild this wide receiver room. Because the guys that we brought in through high school, I mean, do I think they can be good at Auburn? Yes, but they aren't that level yet where they can, compete at the SEC like right off the bat. So
I
obviously,
think
I want to see those USF wide receivers. Possibly, I know one entered today. So
Keyshawn Singleton.
yeah, obviously, they need a good quarterback. Everyone's assuming, I think most people are on the same page here. That's going to be Byron Brown. Would be awesome if that is true. Definitely can't lose out on that. And then, I mean, really, I feel we'll probably get maybe one running back. I mean, I feel good about Jeremiah Cobb staying here, and then he'll obviously be the number one guy
Of
next
course,
year. Maybe a guy to can split some reps. There's that talk about the West Virginia running back. I can't tell you his name off the top of my head, but
can't remember it. Yeah.
yeah. But then obviously on the defense, gonna have to fill in the DB room a little bit. But again, USF had some guys that I'm sure Golish is talking to, and I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up as a Tiger. So I think that's kind of what I feel right now. Obviously, you get to keep Xavier Atkins. That's huge for the linebacker room.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive line's still going to be a little slim, but I think we have some bodies there. So what do you think?
Well, I will start. I'm going to start by saying with the wide receiver room, there is one guy out of this high school class that I think can come in and make a difference right away, and I think it's Deshaun Spencer.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have plenty of time in the offseason to talk about, the next once we know the roster, kind of our predictions. But I think that is a guy that he could come in and make an immediate impact, and people turn their heads a little bit and say, "Wait a second, this guy was a 3-star." I mean, to have 1,700 yards broke Ryan Williams' record at Saraland in 6A, and anyone in the state of Alabama knows that 6A football is not it's not easy. It's not
That's
easy to
elite.
have
As
1,700
someone who
yards.
played in 6A
Yeah,
football in the state of Alabama, it is
and
elite.
a premier program that looks to go play the best teams in
Mm.
Saraland. So, but obviously, I would love to see Keyshawn Singleton pop. I'd love to go get a guy maybe like a Nick Marsh kind of player from Michigan State. Maybe a top 5 portal guy at the wide receiver position. I can't imagine any of them are going to be commanding the money that Cam Coleman is. And
Yeah.
so, do you go pay? You can take the money that we were going to pay Cam Coleman, and you can go pay 2 good wide receiver ones.
Yeah. Exactly. I
And
mean,
you can get that production back.
yeah. That's
Um,
exactly what I was thinking. I mean, like the money that we're gonna have to be able to spend in this portal to get who should be whoever we want.
and
So
make
much
no
money is freed
mistake,
up, but we should be able to get whoever we want.
you can replace. Now, my thing with Cam Coleman is you can replace his production. What you can't replace about Cam is having his name tied to Auburn when he's drafted in the first 10 picks of next year's draft, and
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
having that so-called face of the program, elite guy.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely replace the production that we've lost these past few years. I'd love to backfill on the running back. I feel really confident if you go into next season with Jeremiah Cobb and Omar Mabson. I
Mhm.
think I think I would feel really confident with that. I'd like an older guy to come in and maybe be that running back too, just to let Mabson kind of come into his own a little bit more. Obviously, everyone knows you need the best bodies on the O line you can get. I'm really going to trust kind of that scouting with O line this year and the new O line coach. If you remember last year, we got some of the biggest names in the portal at the O line position, and it did not work out. Actually, 2 years in a row now
Last
we've
few
done that.
years.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to really trust the evaluations of the staff with O line. Um, D-line would love to see an elite, kind of just like a gap blocker interior guy, just kind of one of those big body guys, maybe not the quickest in the world, but somebody that can just really kind of plug those gaps, especially for the run game. I would love to see kind of, well, with Sylvester right now, as of right now, there's been talk about Sylvester and Champ entering the portal. As we go on day to day to Friday without that announcement, I feel more confident about the defensive side of the ball. But obviously, if you lose two guys like that, those are hard hitters, kind of bigger body guys in Sylvester that you're going to have to fill those positions. But I weirdly I like the safety room. If we keep
Mhm.
if we keep everyone who's on the roster now, I'm okay with the safety room. And one thing I have noticed with this portal is the DBs. I feel like there has been a lot of big name DBs across the SEC, and across even some of the G5 level that are really big names, guys that appeared in pretty much every single game for their career at their respective schools. And so I think there's going to be a good market. I think you don't ever want to lose top tier guys at the DB position, but if you're going to lose them, this year's the year to do it, you know.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
and then finally, I think we need a punter and a kicker. I think we really
Yes.
need to go get a punter and a
Yes.
kicker. Somebody
Yes.
that can. I know Alex has got another year, but man, I would just love to have a kind of have a guy. I mean, Connor Gibbs is still on the roster, so maybe they like him. But I would like to know that our special teams is going to be much improved from where it's been at.
I would like to know that our punter can kick the ball more than 30 yards down the field. So,
But he can
so
make
yeah,
those
that
trick shots,
yeah, he can hit trick shots, but he can't kick the ball farther than 30 yards.
and
So
maybe he's got another year, I think. So
yeah,
maybe they
and
work with him.
I think the most surprising thing about this staff so far has been that they like Preston Howard.
Yeah,
And I mean, and like,
yeah,
don't get me wrong, I think Preston Howard can be good. Like, he was a good blocking tight end. He also, I mean, you can fix drops.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That is fixable. And it's just one of those things where he got in his head. I haven't really watched any of his Maryland tape, so obviously I don't know exactly everything, but I think he will be fine. I know there's a lot of bad blood with him and Auburn, but him and Auburn fans, not necessarily the Auburn
Mhm.
program, but I
You
think
know,
I think he'll be fine.
if he, kudos to him after everything that was said about him
Yeah.
this year, everything he went through, the fact that he wants to still stay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that says a lot
Yeah.
about Preston Howard and his mentality.
Yeah.
So kudos to him on
Listen,
that. And I don't know that this stat, the comfort for me in that is that if he starts next year like he ended this year, I don't think the staff will keep him out there very long.
yeah, that's very true. Hopefully we see that, with this staff. There'd been a lot of last year where they threatened to bench someone and they just don't. So
No, can't do that.
can't do that. You gotta have a good culture. So moving on from football, obviously it's gonna be a crazy couple days, crazy couple weeks. The portal is just gonna be crazy. So we're gonna have a lot of shows, a lot of updates, all that type of stuff. But moving on from football, obviously next game that Auburn basketball plays is conference play. It's finally here.
Hmm.
What are your overall thoughts right now on this team? It's been a crazy hard schedule, but what have been your thoughts on this team so far?
Well, if you would ask me that a week ago, it'd be a little bit different from what I'll say tonight. But no, I was very impressed with the win against Queens. Obviously, it's not an opponent that you really learn much, but I think we did. I think we have a big enough sample size now that we did learn a little bit about this team. This was the prototypical game. You just got back from Christmas break. It's been a long, long non-con season, and so this was the perfect letdown spot. This was exactly like that kind of that Bethune Cookman type of game, that even that Chattanooga game where it just you get it done, but I mean it looks sloppy. The pieces aren't moving. This was probably one of the best, I think, offensive schemes we've ran to this point in the season. There was a lot of ball movement. The ball was not getting stuck kind of in the corner. We weren't getting almost like pushed back toward and trapped around the half court line. So I thought they moved the ball well. I thought we got the ball where it needed to be there. And that just comes with relationships. It comes with continuity. And I think the team is building that. I love Tahad's 9 assists. I thought the defense was elite. You get to the second half, things get a little bit lackadaisical, but you still beat a team by 41 points. You score over 100. I think it was a great tune-up game going into conference play.
Yeah, and I'll say I kind of said this yesterday on the podcast, or I think it was, as we're recording this today's. But I love Tahad's 9 assists. Don't get me wrong, but one of 8 is concerning, and
yeah,
we're at the point in the season where like it feels like he should have been figuring it out by now. And like
right.
we played in big enough games where like it's obviously the SEC is not as good as it was last year, but it's still gonna be tougher than Queens. And if you're shooting 1 of 8 on Queens, like that's concerning. So don't get me wrong, I think he'll be fine. I think he can get out of this, and I love that he had 9 assists. But I mean, it makes me a little more comfortable knowing that we have guys like Kevin Overton and Keyshawn Hall who can back up Tahad if Tahad has an off night, and Elijah Freeman. I mean, my goodness, last night he went stupid. I think it was 4 for 4 from the 3-point line. So
yeah, and I mean he didn't really show
guys.
up till the second half too.
Yeah,
those are the guys. Those were the guys last year. Like I compared Kevin Overton to Miles Kelly. Just having that guy where it's like what your stars are going to do. The team is going to go how this guy goes. And so, I see a little Elijah kind of has the bounce, has that fire that Chad kind of had a little bit. And then I see a lot of Miles Kelly and Kevin Overton.
Yeah. Who would you say, and there might not be anyone because it's a new team, but who would you say Keyshawn Hall reminds you most of?
That's kind of the hard thing. I don't think we really had a Keyshawn, in terms of obviously the offense runs through Keyshawn Hall, you would say Broome. He's got to touch the ball at least once every time he's down on the offensive side. But I don't think we've seen a guy that can really. He'll post a guy up. He'll back down into the paint and he'll post up if he needs to. He'll shoot the 3 ball. He'll shoot in space. He'll shoot with 2 guys by him. I mean, he creates. He gets to the rim. I think. He is that Swiss Army knife, and you went and got him from UCF because he was leading a Power 4 conference in scoring, and he was the guy for that team. And you went and got him to be the guy for this team, and that's exactly what he's done so far. I've been pleasantly surprised with Keyshawn Hall's ability.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you think this team will do in conference play? I mean, do you think they'll do well, mediocre, bad? I mean, obviously, a lot of people said it depends on who we're playing, of course. I mean, if there's a team that has like a big guy, a 7-footer, we could be in some trouble, as we've seen,
right.
with this non-conference schedule. So what do you think this team is capable of in conference play?
I think, it's hard to say. This team, it feels like their ceiling is so high, but it also feels like their floor is so low. I could see this team being I could see this team being a 13-5 SEC team, but I could also see them easily going 7-11 in conference play. So, I think it's all going to depend on kind of that schedule. Thankfully, there's not as much size in the SEC this year as there was last year. I still think we're going to kind of struggle against those bigger bodied teams. But I kind of like where we're at. For me, what's going to be interesting is this Georgia game. I think this will I don't know. Would you say they're as good as St. John's was? You say they're kind of in the same category a little bit?
Yeah, I'd say similar. They're ranked 23 right now. I haven't watched one of their games this year, so I couldn't tell you.
They haven't played anybody really worth the salt except Clemson.
Do I think Auburn deserves to be ranked? I'm not going to say yes, but I mean they're definitely like right on the line. So I think it'll be a pretty even matchup. Now we definitely played a lot better teams than they have, so it'll be interesting to see for sure.
I think if we had Georgia's schedule, we would probably be a top 20 team in the country right now. I think we'd be in that 18 to 19 spot. Yeah. But even look at Vanderbilt. They moved Vanderbilt up to the 11th team in the country. So who's to say that we wouldn't be a top 15 team? Yeah, so it all goes to say you really don't know until you get into conference play. Yeah. But I think we match up well with most of our schedule. It's just going to be what who kind of turns it on in conference play. We saw it a little bit last year. Certain guys, especially like a Cheney Johnson, really stepped up, and when you needed him most in conference play, the Vanderbilt game, when what did he go 9 for 9?
Mm,
Just he
that
made
little
he
stretch was
he
unbelievable.
had like yeah he had like 18 or 20 points in a row. It was just him the entire time, and so it's
Yeah.
going to be who's going to be that guy, who's going to take over each game, or is it going to be a community effort? And as long as yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
I just get worried with that. I get really worried with the front court. But
Yeah, for sure.
Keyshawn Murphy is going to have to be very comfortable playing 38 minutes of very physical basketball every
Yeah.
game.
I mean, having a Mecca out just as like
Mm-hmm.
insurance is brutal for sure. Let's go through the next. I just want to go through the next 5 games of our basketball and predict what we think the record would be. We have Georgia. We're at Georgia, Texas A&M at home against Arkansas, at Missouri, and then at home against South Carolina. So a decent home stretch right here for this team. What do
Mm-hmm.
you think?
I think you I think you beat Georgia on the road. I think you I think you beat Texas A&M. I think you lose to Arkansas. I think it could be a toss up. I'm not saying we can't win that game. I very much think we could win that game, but I'm going to say we lose to Arkansas, and then I think you set up well to beat Missouri and both South Carolina. I think 4-1 is very achievable in this stretch. Would
Yeah,
I be upset with 3-2 if you drop maybe the Georgia game? No, I wouldn't be at all upset with that. But what do you think?
I mean, I certainly agree with that. I mean, you took it almost right out of my mouth. I think 4-1 is the ceiling. Man, don't get me wrong, we could go 5-0, but
Mm-hmm.
I just see
It's gonna be
us
very
losing
tough.
one of these. It's just there's always one game, within a span of like 2 weeks where this team just doesn't play to what it needs to. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think we beat Georgia, beat A&M. I think we do. I agree. I think we lose to Arkansas, Missouri. I mean, could go either way. Anytime playing on the road in the SEC is tough, so that could be one that we just happen to drop. And then I think we'll take care of South Carolina at home, no problem. So yeah, that is about it on basketball. One more thing we're gonna do before we get out of here. We're gonna do a little prediction for college football, this college football playoff this weekend, and then the two of the other bowl games that are coming up tomorrow and New Year's Day. So
Mm-hmm.
you have Oregon, Texas Tech, Alabama, Indiana, Ole Miss, Georgia, Miami, Ohio State, and then it was Vanderbilt, Iowa, and then what was that
Iowa, they're
last one?
tomorrow at 11 a.m. And
Yeah,
then you've got Texas and Michigan
Texas.
tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. So let's start with Oregon, Texas Tech. Who do you got?
I think Texas Tech, and I don't particularly think it'll be close.
You think Texas Tech wins?
I think Texas Tech wins, and I think they win by I'm going to say 9 or 10 or more.
Really? Dude, I don't know. I just don't think they played anyone. I'm gonna go Oregon here.
All right.
I think it worries me at Texas Tech in the Big 12. They're I just don't think they played anyone that good. I mean, they could prove me wrong right here, but we'll see. Alabama, Indiana. Who do you got?
I like the matchup for Alabama, but I think Indiana, if you would have asked me this before conference championship weekend, I probably would have said Alabama wins this game. But what Indiana's defense showed me against Ohio State, I think that Indiana, I think Indiana is going to win this one, but I don't think it'll be more than a touchdown. It's going to be a close game. I would expect more of a defensive battle. Both quarterbacks have struggled when they play better defenses, and both teams feature very solid defenses. So, but I do think Indiana. I think Mendoza kind of has that edge about him a little bit more, and
Heisman winner.
I think they just kind of squeak above Alabama when it comes to playmakers.
Give me Indiana by a million. um, Next up, we got Ole Miss, Georgia. Who you got?
I think Ole Miss.
Yes.
This is my bold pick. This is my
Yes.
bold pick. I think they're going to
Yes.
get their
Yes.
get back, and I think Ole Miss is going. I think Ole Miss wins this game.
Yes. I
No,
agree. I
nothing else
mean,
said.
Ole Miss is out for. I mean, they're out for blood now without Lane. This is a revenge game for that Ole Miss Georgia game in the regular season. That was an absolute amazing game. I think it was at Georgia too. So
Trinidad still doesn't have his waiver.
Yeah, so they're playing with a chip on their shoulders for sure. Give me Ole Miss in that one. It's currently -6.5 Georgia, but I'm taking the Rebs. Next up, Miami, Ohio State. Who you got?
This is the one that I keep going. I know Ohio State's like a 10.5 point favorite, which I think is just absurd.
As of right now, ESPN has them at -9.5.
If you are a betting man, absolutely lay Miami the points on this game. I think Ohio State is the easy pick. So for that, I think Miami. I have Miami winning this game. Nothing. Yep. I have no analysis on that. I'm just going against the easy pick.
Yeah, I'll go against you. I think Ohio State's good enough. I mean, I don't know where the Cotton Bowl. I think that's in Texas. I think it's in Dallas. Yeah, I'll go Ohio State. I think they just have the playmakers on their team to beat Miami. I mean, Miami struggled with Texas A&M, and do I think Texas A&M was good? Do I think they were, as good as people thought they were? No, I don't think so. So that's that cultural playoff, coming up. But we also have tomorrow Vanderbilt versus Iowa. Who you got?
The Fighting Diego Pavias by 1 million. They will beat Iowa by 14 or more. This is Diego Pavia's final game. He's leaving it all out. Yeah. But Eli Stowers is out. Eli Stowers won't be playing. It doesn't matter. Diego will throw the ball up to himself if he has to.
I was about to say, Diego might have 500 rushing yards tomorrow. We'll see. No, I agree. I think it's not going to be close. Same type of situation. Vanderbilt this year, I mean, for right now, they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. Obviously, they thought they deserved to be in the College Football Playoff. And then after watching the two Group of 5 schools play, JMU and Tulane, I think they are quite frustrated that they didn't make it into the playoffs. So, yeah, give me Vanderbilt by 1 million. And then obviously the last game we have, was it Texas, Michigan, you said?
Texas, Michigan, yep.
Yeah, who you got?
I think is Ryan Wingo's in the transfer portal, right? He's leaving Texas.
I think so.
Okay. So and then is it Wisner? He's leaving the portal as well? The starter, the running back?
That one I
believe so. Don't quote me on that. I feel like maybe that was just a rumor. Anyways, I still think Texas wins this game. Who's the interim for Michigan? I'm going blank on his name.
I couldn't tell you.
He's hilarious. If you ever have a moment, read up on his life story. He's done everything and everything in between everything. He's hilarious. Great culture guy. Great morale booster, but I think Texas has the edge here with actually having, not the biggest scandal to stain the university in the past 100 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think Texas, they just have the players, and there's just been so much happening with Michigan right now. I would not be surprised if there's just a ton of distractions for that program, and then obviously Texas has Arch coming back next year, so he'll be playing. So, yeah, give me Texas, and it's not even that close.
That's going to be an ugly game, though. That's what I can predict. Is that game is going to look just dumb.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Brett, I think that's about all for today. Thank you so much for hopping in here. Brett's going to be a regular in here, probably, guys. So y'all stay tuned. Brett, thank you. How can everybody find you? Check you out.
You can find me on thebarnauburn.com. Yeah, we have a great time over there. There's always
fantastic time over there.
Always something going on.
Always something.
Other than that, I'd give you my X, but I don't ever post on it. I just repost Chargers and Auburn stuff. So
there you go. So. All right. Well, I really appreciate it, Brett. And yeah, so y'all like the video, please subscribe, and we will see you next time.